I'm going to show you how to develop your psychic abilities without ever having to practice. If you've been following traditional spirituality and you're trying to unlock your psychic abilities or develop your spiritual gifts, you know that it takes time and we have to practice, but you may not always have time to practice. And that's the problem with New Age spirituality. It doesn't recognize that we already have every spiritual ability any human has ever thought of and more. And those abilities are fully developed and fully strengthened. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You don't even have to practice. You just have to bring an awareness to it. It's kind of like this. I want you to focus on your heart right now. Put your hand on your heart. I just want you to become aware of your heartbeat. Can you feel your heart beating right now? Just become aware of that. Okay, so you can probably feel your heart beating right now, but before I told you to focus on it, you had no idea that you even had a heart. But the second you brought an awareness to it, you felt every single heartbeat. Our spiritual abilities work the exact same way. You have to focus on them. And when you focus on them, it brings more an awareness to them, and more of an awareness you have of them, the stronger they are. And no, I'm not talking about meditation and quieting the mind. You do not have to meditate in order to come into your spiritual abilities. As a matter of fact, when you start to focus on your psychic abilities, you do not want to be in a meditative state. You want to do the opposite of meditation. You want to become hyper-aware and hyper-fixated on the sensations that you're feeling. If you get in that meditative state where you feel all warm and fuzzy and floaty, you're not going to have a whole lot of control over your experience. Think about it. Whenever you're super relaxed and kind of chilled out, do you want to sit there and have a conversation with anyone? Does it take a lot of energy to actually speak and get something out? Versus when you're excited and you can't wait to speak to somebody. That's the difference between meditation and not meditating when we're using our psychic abilities. And I know what you're thinking right now. August, all of this makes sense, but you told us how we were going to be able to come into our psychic abilities without practicing. All right, this is how you do it. You don't practice, you make this a way of life. And what I mean by that is that you need to incorporate using your spiritual abilities in everyday life. Instead of waking up in the morning and just grabbing something out of the closet, throwing it on and getting yourself to work or wherever you have to go in the morning, why don't you take a more intuitive approach? As you're going through your closet, why don't you feel into the colors and the vibration of the clothing and select what speaks to you rather than just grabbing it? On your way to work or dinner or picking up the kids, whenever you're going along your normal route, just tune into how it feels and listen to your intuition trying to tell you anything. I practice this every time I get in the car, and I can't tell you how many times I avoided some unexpected traffic. Next time you go out to eat and you finish your meal, then you ask for the check, tune into the amount to see if you can feel what the number is going to be. Here's one of my favorites. When I'm sitting at a red light in traffic, I tune into the energy of the light to see if I can feel when it's going to turn green. When I feel it starting to come, I'll usually go 3, 2, 1, boom. You'll be surprised, 70-80% of the time I nail it. So those are just a few fun examples of what you can do to incorporate this into a way of life. But you can also take an even more serious approach, like when you're planning out your day or if you have important decisions to make. Check in with yourself and notice how those decisions make you feel. You might just start adjusting things based on intuition. So tell me something right now. Are you going to stop practicing and start making this a way of life?